I am Meatball, and this is the Chief. Well, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that I got rid of the Chieftain. So I was getting a little bit not really wanting to ride it. Some of the things that was getting me to not want to ride it was always having to deal with the weight of the bike and how big it is. And seeing that I don't really take long trips on it lately, and I did take the trip to Sturgis on my Scout Bobber, I was just figuring, you know, I should get a smaller bike. And Indian came out with the Chief now, which is more of a mid-size bike. So one of the reasons I did get rid of it was for the reduction of about 200 pounds of bike. Now this is a base Chief, but it does have the ruby metallic because Hollister Indian, where I got it, they switched the tins out for me, so from a Chief Bobber, because this color is actually not available on a base Chief with no ABS. It's almost the color of that street light. So I wanted the, holy cow, that guy's going, what the hell's that guy's problem? Moo. So I wanted a lighter bike, and it has the mids, which are throwing my shifting off. So if you notice sloppy shifting, I'm not quite used to it. Plus the clutch does catch out at the end. So it's just me having to adjust to that. Otherwise, the rest of the bike's nice. It's lighter, got the mids for better handling, more clearance. And then they actually shortened the wheelbase by, I think, almost 2 inches, which gives it a better trail. So it's a little bit more agile. It comes with Pirelli Night Dragons on it, so it should grip a little better. So I do have to do a few things for the range, for going on long rides. But the range of the bike has been really good. I just put gas in it. You can see it has 192 miles, it says, so it goes empty. So far, I don't know exactly how accurate that is because I picked it up from Hollister Indian with a full tank of gas, made it all the way to Oakdale, which is about 130 miles away, and it said it had 50 more miles left. And seeing there's a gap of about 35 miles from Oakdale to Sonora, and it was late in the day, I decided to just get gas. I don't have to see exactly this 200 miles or 180 or anything right now. So I've got my little runaround bike, the Scout, but it will be I will be taking the Scout to Arizona Bike Week, it looks like, because I think Bearded is going to take his Scout Bobber to Arizona Bike Week also. It gives me a chance to get it out and about too with all the mods I've done with no fenders and everything. And this here has no back seat right now, so I'll be making some modifications to it so I can carry a backpack to it. I'm looking at possibly building a sissy bar for it, and then I could get I'll get a Corbin seat for it. And then after that, right now I'm just trying to assess if I want to raise the handlebars up. So Bearded has a Chief Bobber that Indian has loaned him to do some reviews and videos on, and I have him sort of helping me out a little bit with how high the handlebars are on that compared to his Scout Bobber, because both our Scout Bobbers are set up similar in the seating position, but I'm pretty sure I want to sit up more straight on this thing, because I am a little bit hunched over, which isn't too bad, but with the mid controls it's throwing me off a bit. So I think I'll be fine once I probably put anywhere between 8, which is the stock mini apes that Indian has and their cable kits are made for. But I might go up to 10-inch mini apes on this, just because I think it'll put my hands up about at my shoulders, and that's pretty much where I want them. And some of you are probably wondering why I went from a touring bike and I'm going to take a mid-size cruiser and probably tour on it a bit. You know, I don't think I really need a windshield yet. So the fairing helps on me. The one I had on the Chieftain, it was really nice. It did block cold wind and stuff like that. But what I found out, it typically added buffeting to the helmet. And with no windshield at all, I don't get buffeting on the helmet, but you do got the pressure on your chest and stuff. So, but I just counteract that by setting it up so you sit slightly leaning forward, So when you're going slow, you're not really trying to hold yourself up. Ooh, everyone must be going to the casino. So you're not having to hold yourself up like you are on a sport bike, or here where I'm leaning way forward, or pretty forward. It leans you into the wind a little bit, and that seems to have worked real well on my Scout on a couple of the trips I've taken on it. I guess I do always have the option to add that clear windshield like they have on the Super Chief, but I don't think that's my style. So, but I'll just be setting this thing up a little bit to go a little bit farther, easier. I don't plan to be traveling with a backpack all the time like I will be to Arizona, because there's no way I'm getting this thing set up with a sissy bar in the seat so I can put a backpack on the back of it with not scratching the rear fender. And this one will retain its rear fenders. So I'm gonna not do a tail delete on this one. This one's gonna be set up so it always has fenders on it, that if I want to pack a bag and throw it on and ride to Sturgis, ride down to see Bearded Barber or the Warbeard, I could go down and just go. And with the even with the 4-gallon tank, it seems to do really good. Yesterday I went out with a friend who has an MV Agusta Rush, and we weren't riding aggressive or anything, of course, but I got almost 43 miles per almost 44 miles per gallon, just under that according to the computer. And even if it's not accurate, it's getting over 40 miles per gallon. My Chief got about 37. And I screwed around on that thing, it would get probably less. So I actually think the Chief has as much range as my Chieftain did. Even the Chieftain had like I think a 5.5 gallon tank. I will miss the Chieftain. There were some times, you know, that there's some things that did really well, like blasting down the freeway. Because I actually went down to Hollister Indian just to look, because I was thinking about getting a FTR. And what hung me up about the FTR was waiting for a truck. Was the fact I can get a side rack and a back rack, so I can carry stuff without a backpack. But really, the thing that hung me up on that was the fact that you go about 100 miles and you need gas. Same thing with the Scout, so it didn't fit the bill for the long distance thing, because I have done that on the Scout, and it's not too bad stopping every 100 miles, but it does sort of make you have to plan out a little extra. So I actually went to Hollister just to see what they give me on trade-in on my Chieftain. And to my surprise, apparently used bikes are worth quite a bit lately, because I actually got enough money that I couldn't walk away from the deal. So I thought I'd hear a low price, and they didn't have an FTR there, but my thought was go see what the bike's worth, and at that point you could maybe have them order an FTR. But they also had this Chief there, and the Chief Bobber that the tins came off of. And as soon as I sat on it, I could tell that maybe I'll cut all that out. Shitty shifting, I told you guys. That, and I haven't recorded for a while, and I'm a little off on my looking over my shoulder. Anyway, so when I went down to Hollister Indian and I had them value my trade-in, the Chieftain, I pretty much was thinking if they give me a good amount for it, I'd probably have them order me an FTR. But then I went and sat on the Chief and instantly felt how much smaller it felt to me and how much nicer it was. I mean, with the amount they gave me for the Chieftain, I decided just to make the switch. I didn't really need all the power and handling the the FTR has, and I didn't really want to be dealing with stop every 100 miles for gas. So I decided to just go ahead and get the Chief. It really, at first it was like, oh, I got another black bike. I keep getting black bikes, and now it's like they said they'd switched the tins out. So at that point, and I looked at the color of this, and that was it. So the night I actually went there, they weren't able to switch the tins that day, so I had to come back. But I left, took the long way home, and that's when the fairing actually really kicked in on the Chieftain, because it was cold. So, but yeah, the flamethrower was fun too, but I'm sure I'll be perfectly happy with this bike. I mean, just moving around, going down my driveway where you have to go down and it's on the steep side, and then you turn right into one of the garage doors. There's a lot of things here and there, stopping at lights, and where that 200 pounds less basically makes a pretty big deal. And so unless you're actually taking, you know, a lot of road trips that are really long, or maybe if you commute on the freeway, I think this Chief is perfectly fine for that. It sort of fits, you know, for around here there's really no straight roads. And I have two friends that have basically naked sport bikes. So I figured even the FTR probably wouldn't keep up with them, so I decided not to go that route and just get the Chief. But it sort of fits what I need. So if I go to Sturgis this year, it'll be on the Chief, I believe. Next year might not be the Chopper, because with having to do things to my house and then having to get this set up, it seems like the way everything's going that the Chopper may get delayed a bit, and I'll eventually get there. So I got two things to work on. It's motorcycle related this year. And as you can see, this is sort of fun. And it's a lot faster than you'd think with only 111 on it. They've changed the tuning on it, so I'm not sure exactly what the difference is. They're sort of detuned, I believe, and you can't get a tuner for it yet, so I'm going to be sticking with the bedpan here on the side till they come out with the tuner, and I got to figure out something for exhaust, because that's one of the only things about this bike is I'm riding along and right now I don't hear the engine enough to know exactly where my RPMs is. So, but no rush. It's got plenty of power. It's just not very noisy, but I'm not in the city, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm up here in the mountains, so, and there's no snow right now. Snowed a little bit earlier in this week, and it's cold. That's why I got my leather on. Oh, and you got out of the seat like the bobber, sort of. Let me just find someplace to jump here. This tarmac is terrible. Alright, I think I ran out of the crap to say. So, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Later. I need to find some place to take a picture.